scenario, right? So you always want at least a good amount of deep push. So it feels like that's the direction they're taking right now. And also Dazzle is just a natural counter to Elder Titan in its own right, because Weave gives you a ton of plus armor, and Elder Titan's really good at reducing base armor. So it could be a denial pick as well as just good synergy with the rest of the draft.
And EHOME now with their third pick. It will be interesting to see, obviously, as we were saying, Escape Gaming have taken away some of the heroes that they were running with the Naga in the game before. But if EHOME want to take anything else that's going to kind of stick to their hands, and always interesting though, EHOME, they love the Ogre Magi, don't they?
They do.
Every time the old Lanham can pick it, he seems to be taking it recently.
It's like that, and every once in a while you see the Kunkka come out as well. We saw that during the qualifiers a little bit. But I think the Ogre's kind of coming back because you see a lot of these rotating heroes, and sometimes it's nice just to have one support on your team who can pretty much just walk around where he's needed and just have that pressure of, okay, maybe the offlaner can't do anything now, and you get, one extra item on your safe lane, then he's fine. You go somewhere else. It offers you an insane amount of damage as well if you do manage to get to that Aghanim state, and Bloodlust is always going to be a great steroid during any part of the game. So it's just, I think, a really solid hero overall right now.
I'm taking their time here, yeah. I mean, and looking at Escape Gaming's draft as well, obviously, as you said, with the Elder Titan and the Dazzle, they do have the Aura, the Weave, but they don't really have a lot of kind of just punch and ways of killing people, especially if EHOME have these kind of beefier heroes like the Ogre and obviously like the Naga eventually is going to reach to. Escape Gaming, it feels to me that these final two cores that they then go for, they need to be able to just dish out the pain. We need to see a lot of stuff coming out from Era and Koifa, which, considering the games we've seen so far in Koifa's performance, we can, he's been on form today. His performances have been absolutely brilliant. EHOME, they're going to be picking up the Death Prophet this game, a hero that we just don't see that much of.
To be honest, it's not a bad DP game. Like, it's very difficult between the two supports they have on Escape to really pressure the hero in lane directly, and that's typically the objective that you have, right? You see this Death Prophet, you want to kill her like 2 or 3 times in lane to slow her tempo, and that's like the #1 priority. But when you have a Dazzle and an Elder Titan, it's kind of like, all right, maybe a Stomp can set up for some kind of kill. Maybe they go back for Koifa's Invoker. It was banned against Complexity in the last series. They for the Queen again, although Queen is a very all-in pick for them. I think the only time it works is when Koifa has a very easy lane and he's able to just snowball, because that's just the way the hero functions right now. If you don't have a good lane and you're not getting kills and whatnot, in addition to also having farm, the hero just falls flat. So yeah, it's just going to be the Invoker. I think it's probably the more stable pick. It's another hero that's very good at clearing out waves. I would assume this is going to be Exort. It's very good synergy with the Faceless Void. Even Elder Titan Stomp can set up for Sunstrikes. It just overall fits the draft very well.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, this is what they were lacking, and this is going to fit the bill. Absolutely. It's the missing piece of the puzzle that really just absolutely makes the Elder Titan, the Dazzle combination set up for huge amounts of damage. And we obviously know Koifa's Invoker, very, very impressive. And he can carry a game on his shoulders on his Invoker.
Oh, absolutely.
He can rock it up to the top
he was
of the
carrying on
like
Queen, and I would say that Queen is a much worse kind of position 1 style mid that, Koifa does play for this team. Sure, Era also gets a good amount of farm, but in all the games that they were playing against Complexity, it felt like Koifa was always the highest net worth on the team. So giving him something that's going to be able to abuse that farm and abuse the late game as well, because Invoker scales phenomenally, is always going to be a step in the right direction.
I do like this Disruptor pick for me. I mean, I do like what they're doing with the fact that they've got both this Disruptor and the Death Prophet, because that, with the Static Storm and the Silence, that is going to be very, very annoying for Escape Gaming to fight into in these team fights. Dazzle, he's got to be very careful with his position. He's got to make sure he can get that Grave off before he's silenced. Invoker, Void, they can just be shut down, chased down, caught out. So EHOME, if they're able to play as well as they have been so far, I can't help but feel that they have got the answers to what Escape Gaming's trying to do so far.
Their counter initiation is terrifying, because if you think about the way the team fights are usually going to go, it's either an Elder Titan Stomp or a Faceless Void ultimate to start the fight for Escape, because they don't have any other forms of initiation. That is how they start a fight, those abilities pretty much, and that's it. So what happens is a song comes out from Ice, and then a Static Storm and a Kinetic Field can be just dropped on that song. And as soon as the song is canceled, you're already stuck inside of it. So you're just in a position immediately where you don't want to be, basically. So I think that EHOME, like you said, they have very good tools at dealing with the Chronosphere, with the Echo Stomp, and whatnot coming out of Escape Gaming. So I'm curious to see what they're going to pick for Era now, because they need something...
I do like that ban from EHOME, because this could have very well been a Huskar.
It could have been a Huskar game.
This absolutely could have been a Huskar lineup for Escape Gaming.
But you know what's really interesting? Gro is in the pool. But I don't think that Escape Gaming are super super skilled at the drill. We'll see, though.
Oh, I mean, this pick from Escape Gaming, as I said, You know, that Huskar that's been taken away. I was talking to them earlier, they were saying, you know, they do like to run it with the Dazzle. Less so the Oracle, because Sin, he does struggle.
Yeah. Sure.
Dazzle's a little easier.
I actually think that Escape are in a very hard position right now, because I think that EHOME are going to do what they did against Execration and just do some dual offlanes, like maybe Ogre Axe. And that lane is tough for any melee core. Doesn't matter what it is. They want to focus a lot of attention on the supports having to be either around that lane, or the safe lane of Escape is just going to get punished. So, a very interesting situation for them. They really want to pick a range core. But
I mean, you think the Drow can still work here?
I mean, it's super all in. It is super all in. They lose like the first 20 minutes of the game. Okay, yeah.
They do it. I mean,
I actually think it's like the best choice, but it's also a very hard to execute choice.
Yeah. All right, TI6, and we're seeing Drow get through as the last pick. That's something. You know, people thought we were in this meta where Drow was going to be banned, picked to the start. No, sneak it through at the end. And it may not be the Huskar that maybe they would have rather picked this game, but the fact that they get this Drow, their lanes are going to be strong.
I don't even know if Huskar's that good, because you have Naga Siren, so like you dunk in, you can get songed, and then there's Static Storm is on your head, and there's an axe in the game as well. Like Spin is pure damage. And
so would you say that EHOME could have maybe banned the Drow and just picked the axe, and then that would have put them off picking Huskar as well, or they could have still picked it, and it could have been an issue?
I mean, Huskar definitely can always be an issue. It just depends on how his laning phase goes, and that's probably what they're more scared of. They're not scared of the mid game; they're scared of the lanes, because if you go against Huskar with 2 melee, you're gonna get blasted. So. All right, we got some predictions here, Owen. What are you thinking?
This is player with most last hits of 7 minutes.
I want to say Ice.
I'm gonna go with the old Ice.
Yeah.
Longest kill streak. I'm gonna go with the old 11. Highest
You're
network.
just going all
I'm going with the Ice. I'm sorry, Sind. What's going on here? Old 11 and Yapso giving it some as old 11 heads down. Just gonna back away. Total number of player deaths. Where's Cinderin? Oh, you don't. Oh, okay. Total number. Cinderin is not a number. It will be. If he dies. 36. Go on, Sin, do it for me. Here we have Escape Gaming versus EHOME Game 1 as we get ourselves into the lanes. In terms of the lanes, anything that you can imagine we're going to see teams try and avoid, or is it going to be standard stuff in terms of the tri lanes?
Well, EHOME definitely want to try to go aggressive. If the lane fails, they can always just send all 11 into the woods. Like, they don't have to go for any sort of all-in play. And he's even saved a little bit of money up. He's going to buy some items now. I think maybe he's just going to go straight to jungle. He bought a ton of regen and a stout shield, so... Yet to be decided if he's actually going to go to that lane or not. If he doesn't, the blink timing is going to be very fast, and I feel like Yapsor is limited in what he can accomplish on an Elder Titan against some kind of AFK jungler, right? Because you can't really just follow the hero around an Elder Titan. So the early game for Escape is going to be more predicated around, you know, getting Quakefa farm, getting Era farm, and then hoping that you can group up and get something done before the Axe gets a blink, because that's going to be a really big issue for them. Stopping that initiation and also having to worry about Naga Siren song during mid-game.
Interesting there as well. They did have 4 heroes around at the bottom arena Escape Gaming, but not wanting to contest against EHOME's lineup there. Is it just the superior early game fight? Is there a reason why they wanted to dodge that fight at the bottom arena there, Escape Gaming?
They have okay level 1, I guess, but the problem is Invoker, he only has Sunstrike, and that's not really the easiest thing in the world to land. So they're going to make it so that they have the aggro tri-lane still, and they're just going to put the Axe against the Void, which is obviously a favorable matchup for the Axe against any melee. Old 11's going to do more than fine. And then the aggro tri-lane should also do alright, because again, committing these heroes to this tri-lane just seems very difficult for Escape to actually get a kill. If anything, Escape are going to be the ones who could jump.
Yeah, we're already just hammering down onto Era. Lanham trying to keep the supports at bay on Escape Gaming. Ping Cinderin and Yapsor away from their fellow core. So bottom lane, top lane, indeed in your words, how do you feel that EHOME, they've got the better hands in well? Bottom lane, let's see if they can actually manage to finish this one through. If they try and go in, Sunstrike isn't going to connect. The Echo Stomp is going to be walked out of by old Lanham. Yapsor's going to give them the old rundown with the stapler. A slap and a half here. Ice comes across to fend them away, but as we can see,
I mean, they're getting outplayed, honestly. Like, Lanham is way too far away from Fenrir, so he's just taking like these unfavorable trades, and he's almost completely out of regen already. That's not a good thing. Like, their supports are supposed to be beefy and want to trade hits.
Sin coming in as well. Again, Ice looking to finish through for the kill. They're going to quite get it. Both teams really going at it down here. Making sure to try and just hinder RSCS. I mean, at the moment, he's 6 for 2. He's not falling behind that far at all. Still finding the farm. The question is, I mean, how much does this aggressive tri-lane on the bottom lane need to achieve? Do they need to be finding kills, or is it enough just to slow down the Drow's early game?
I think it's okay to slow down the grow, and the other thing too to keep in mind, so we're going to see a defensive stomp here. Actually hits on both and gets the rune. What a player, YapzOr. That was such a nice play. If he didn't get that rune, he was dead, for sure. But the biggest thing to me right now that's concerning is look at the mid matchup. Old Chicken versus Quakefa right now. Old Chicken is destroying him, and Quakefa is an Exort Evoker with Drow Aura. That should not happen that badly. He's doubling his CS to 2.5 minutes. That is insane. So if they're forcing like the supports of Escape to sit bottom, and your mid's losing this hard, yeah, I definitely think it favors EHOME.
I guess on the plus side, of course, we've got to remember as well, Quakefa on his Invoker, it is a hero you can recover from a bad laning stage on. As long as he doesn't feed, doesn't die, we'll still have the Escape to climb back up that net worth graph as the game goes up. Indeed, Death Prophet's going to have the edge, and that could potentially lead to early towers and early pressure elsewhere on the map. KheZu moving away from Old 11. This lane at the top, KheZu's still managing to find a fair bit of CS. He's 13 for 211 for 0, so KheZu arguably playing this lane very nicely against the Axe.
He's gotten a lot more in the first few waves than I think probably should, but once the pulls start coming out and he's getting his creep wave denied, that's when the Axe is going to start getting further and further ahead. Fortunately, I don't think KheZu needs to win his lane. He just needs to make sure that his chronos are on point, and you can follow it up with things like Sunstrike and Echo Stomps and whatnot to get kills.
Well, still hunting for that first blood, both teams. YapzOr stomping down onto one. The Thunderstrike out. YapzOr falling low. Good double land Gus, but already they've lost one. First blood here to the side of EHOME, trying to finish up Old Lanham, but he's too tanky on this Ogre. They just don't quite have the damage at the moment of Escape Gaming. So EHOME get themselves the kill, and they lose nothing in return on this bottom lane.
They just didn't have a good target to go on. Like, if you're attacking Lanham, okay, that's an Ogre Magi. He's got 10 armor when he's around Ice, who has that Bassi and 700 health. And I see a call here, just going for a little bit of farm. But yeah, the Escape have an issue where a lot of their damage is physical during the early game, and both Ice and Lanham have just an insane amount of armor.
Poison touch from Sin down onto the old Ogre. Turn around, try and slow them out here. The stomp is going to connect. It's going to allow YapzOr and Sin to close a little bit of the gap. Also, Quakefa's moving over as well. He's going to look for the kill. Old Lanham, he's going to look to kill himself to creeps. Isn't going to work out. And ends up feeding a kill to the mid laner of Escape Gaming. Quakefa going to be very happy with that Ogre handed to him on a plate.
As he needs it too, man. He's still, I mean, he's catching up a little bit. And that's to be expected. More points into Exort is more base damage, and then Era's obviously going to be making his way towards level 6 and get more points into Precision Aura. But it's not too bad right now for Escape. I think that their team fights, again, it's going to be very based on what KheZu can do with his Chronosphere placement. And obviously, once the Marksmanship Aura comes online, we're looking to see some tower killing, but still a lot of Dota left to be played here.
Again, the supports from both sides just tickling at each other on this bottom lane, making their presence known. As we can see, 25 for 5 on Ice compared to the 15 for 3 of Era. So definite good success at the moment for EHOME. YapzOr just stomping it off as Fenris starts to get a little bit too close for his own comfort. Cinderin being covered there by Era's Gust to push back the side of EHOME.
It was actually a nice stomp from YapzOr because he stopped the pull. I think that's the main reason why he even put himself in that position in the first place. Because the more creeps that get denied from Era during the early game, the worse off you're going to be. Like, he's only 15 and 4 right now. Of all the heroes that are supposed to be getting farm, he is the lowest. So the pressure that EHOME are applying in the lane so far has been a success.
I mean, look at Old Lanham. He just can be wherever he wants.
Dude, he's an ogre.
He owns the map at this stage.
He's got Windlace, Boots, and Bloodlust. All you do is you walk around and you hit people with a club. That's the ogre job right now.
And, a fair bit of YapzOr's time's wasted. He's hanging around there. He's like, well, what do I do? Well, looks like I've got to go back to base, refuel, and get myself back out into the lane.
Yeah. The more concerning thing right now is the fact that both the other side lanes are losing in conjunction with the fact that their safe lane is also being pressured. So Old 11's pulled ahead tremendously in terms of farm. Again, expected, it's an Axe versus a melee. The middle lane not going as well as it should have for Quakefa. It's not looking super hot right now, but the nice thing is, I guess, that he went Vanguard first on Axe, so the blink timing is going to be delayed.
That's true. He's not going to be able to make the plays, but at the same time, it's going to be very hard for Escape Gaming to make plays on him. He's not going to die, and you can see his confidence. He's between the tier 1s and the tier 2s, hammering away at KheZu. Old 11 showing no fear at the moment, because he knows that they're going to need multiple heroes if they want to have any chance of killing him. Mid lane, Old Lanham coming a little bit too close to the tower.
He actually got scanned before, so they already knew he was there. Quakefa's just trying to bait it out, I guess.
I think the way he'll get Chief with this. Looks like he's just going to come around and maybe check if KheZu's around. Oh, He's just having a wonder, old man.
He's checking the patented 7-minute rune, you know?
Just
Very,
in case.
very standard play. He was just looking for a kill, but it was a very nicely placed scan from Escape to make sure that Quickfoot didn't get dove there. Because I think at this point he doesn't have any Wex, right? Yeah, so he could have very well died in that situation if they weren't ready.
And Yapzor hanging around to the side of him. They realise that old Lanham's gone walkies, so Yapzor's headed over mid. He's going to have the Spirit and the Stomp in case anyone tries to make a go on the Invoker. Top lane again, Axe, all 11. Another man afraid to get in, close and personal to the face of this Void. And they'll come out with the Ghost, look to commit to a push up top EHOME. Understandably, with this Axe and the Death Prophet up here with the ultimate online, it's unlikely that Escape Gaming are going to react to this, and they've just got to let this one go as EHOME take their first objective.
I mean, they could react by ganking bottom. Like, TI6 doesn't have any mana, he's not 6. I would actually prefer to see Kezu make a rotation right now rather than sit here. Because when the Exorcism is down, that's a huge chunk of damage that EHOME don't have. And the offlane tier 1 for Radiant is not really that valuable, but if they're not going to get punished, if they're not going to make any other movement on Escape to try to go for a counter kill, then it's fine, because your ultimate will be back up by the time you need it again on EHOME. So I think that they need to make some kind of rotation soon. You have Chrono, you have Exert Invoker.
Alright, we go. Trying to have a go on to old Lanham. He'll turn around with a Fire Blast to Quaker. Old Chick is turned back up to the mid lane as well, so Escape Gaming unable to get the job finished. As we can see, yeah, just across the board, the top 3 net worth at the moment, all over on the side of EHOME. Escape Gaming certainly falling behind in this laning stage, and as we've been saying, it's not something that you want to be happening, especially when you are running a Drow lineup.
Well, not just that, but just the fact that Old 11 has done so well, in conjunction with your Drow being slowed down. Like, we talked about the Vanguard delaying the blink. Sure, that's true. But the guy's already got 950 gold on top of his Vanguard. So it's not like it's going to delay it by that much. You got your level 6 on Era, so marksmanship is available. But I still feel like maybe they're thinking that they want to go into a later game, but I don't think you want to go into a later game against what EHOME have. There's just too many ways for them to start fights, and too many ways for them to disengage. Like, Naga Siren Song is something that we haven't really been seeing a whole lot in competitive play lately, outside of just like a couple of Chinese teams. Obviously, EHOME have played it in the past, but it's one of those heroes that it doesn't have to just eat the entire map. It can also be a tool for you to get away from big teamfight AoE, kind of like what Elder Titan and Void often bring to the table. So it's just a very nice utility for them to have.
A little burst of good news there for Escape Gaming as Quaker gets his Midas stun around the 9-minute mark. And as we can see, you know, regarding the CS, the fact that Old Chicken obviously left the lane went top. A little bit of space was given to Quaker, so he certainly has managed to start to catch up. And with that Midas, we can certainly expect to see him close the gap. And if the pace continues to go at this stage where, yeah, we're 10 minutes in, there's only been 1 kill on either side, there's definitely going to be scope and space for an Invoker to continue to farm up.
Man, we're talking about space, but EHOME, they want to push the pace. They're going to have Ghost back up here. The timing is perfect. Like, Old Chicken's ultimate just came back up, and they're just going straight for the safe lane.
If they can get Era, that would be a very, very tilting kill for Escape Gaming. They lose that Drow. He's already had a tough start. If they can take him down as they come with the wraparound Era and Sin, they're on their own. The 3, 4 of them coming in on the side of EHOME. Old Chicken just pop in the Ghost. The Scanning Storm's down. They're not messing. They'll take down one. Kezu comes across with the 3-man Chronos, but they'll be able to take down 1. At the same time, Sinner has still been left behind. EHOME, they're chasing him down. Doped down by Old 11. They'll take a second. EHOME will still win the engagement 2-for-1 regardless of Kezu's presence, as other than a Chronosphere, obviously at this stage of the game, not a lot more that the Void can offer.
I mean, they did pretty much everything that they could do to try to save him there. It's just once the Drow is caught, like without Avenge or something to get her into a better position, the hero is most likely going to die. Grave just delays the inevitable, and if the Axe is there and has the Cull, then it doesn't really matter either way if the Shallow Grave's even online.
Right, he's got the glimpse back onto Quaker. It's only the 2 of them, and Old Lanham is out of fuel. Mana isn't there to drop anything onto the Magic Man. Kezu has been eyed up by Old 11. Old 11 trying to close in, get off a call. This is going to be a bit of a wallop at the moment. No creeps to call in as well, so as he gets super lucky with the RNG, he's going to be able to do too much. And Era's now returned back down to the bottom lane. EHOME found the space, found the pressure. They'll take another tier 1, and look at the money in this man's bank. Old 11, 2.5k gold. He's going to be able to pick up that Blink Dagger, and just about to hit on to level 11 as well. 11.5 minutes in. This has got to be one of the fastest Axe progressions I've seen in competitive in quite a while. This is an insane start.
He's gigantic. I mean, at this point, he probably doesn't even have to buy Blade Mail. He can just go straight Crimson, you know? When you have Crimson with a Death Prophet and you just have that extra defensive utility to keep her alive with the Ghost going, can just run at the enemy team. Like, if you chrono at this stage, and the Exort Invoker doesn't have enough points in the Exort for the Meteor to do enough damage to get kills, the rest of the damage on their team is all physical. Crimson Guard just blocks everything. The Forge Spirits, all the right click, it's such a good item this game. And EHOME want to keep pushing the pace. I feel like it fits very well.
So yeah, I'm sort of just getting a smoke delivered out. We'll see if Escape Gaming are able to move around as a grouping and try and find some sort of action against EHOME. But as we can see, it's going to be very hard with the progression that EHOME's managed to maintain in this early stages. And EHOME themselves, of course, they're the ones to be moving out for the action, looking for some fun. They've found Cinder and Old Lanham closing in. Oh, to close the tower. A bit of a mess there, but there's the glimpse back. Cinder, and he does have help. Well, it was Kezu, and he walks straight to the static shot. Chrono comes out, but Cinder, he's still silenced up. Can he save himself? He can. Goes to the Art Styles. Keeps himself alive on 11. He's not an RB fan. Takes him down. Era's going to fall as well. They've lost 2. Escape Gaming. The Stopper's going to come out, hold some of them back. Kezu and Yapsor will be able to escape. Did manage to find the Disruptor, but again, it's EHOME with these successful fights, trades, and killing the Era Drow Ranger once again. It's looking painful for the boys on Radiant.
He's definitely not getting what he needs, that's for sure. And the problem is they haven't really been able to counter pressure any towers. Like, all of EHOME's movements have gone almost unpunished. Like, the tier 1 is the only one that's low, and it's not even in deny range yet. So EHOME taking the safe lane tier 2 at 13 minutes in against a team with a Drow, that is probably the opposite of where you want to be. At this stage, you know, Escape, they want to be grouping up as 5 around the
Oh! Hey. Oh, Levin jumps in, tickles his throat, isn't going to go for the full-fledged call. Sinner's just out of range, but they get themselves the tower, the space is there. Now, looking towards maybe the tier 1 mid as well. Andy, how do Escape Gaming just stop this momentum at this stage?
They need again, it's about the chrono. They need a really good chrono, and hopefully Quake does at the team fight, because the Sunstrike is okay, obviously, but you want to be able to throw in more damage. You want the Earth Splitter to be there. The Wombo combo is how they turn a team fight, and that's something that their lineup does enable them to do, but it's also very reliant on EHOME being out of position. Like, you want to catch, like, the Naga inside of the chrono, I think, and the Axe, but to catch them both is very hard because they're going to be in very different positions during the team fight. Because if you chrono and the song comes out, then the rest of your heroes can't do anything, right? And you're just sitting there.
Omri goes back onto Era. He needs some kind of help coming around. Old Chicken already closing the gap with a Siphon. Didn't be warded back as Escape Gaming aren't in the full force. Chrono's back up in 20 seconds. Battle pings onto Ice as he comes across. Kezu needs some backup if he wants to try and make a go onto this Naga Siren, but still realizing the issue, and oh, Era's being caught out again by the glimpse. He's into the storm, Sinner is saving. No! Sinner, and he walks it off. No grave for you, sir. Still just a level 1 grave, so I imagine wasn't quite the range to save Era. Now EHOME moving in for potentially more. Spirit comes out from Yapsor, and that will stop EHOME from advancing. But again, they're losing the Era Drow Ranger time and time again here.
Well, the thing is, they're kind of being forced into playing this style where they need to try to push. But every time they try to push, EHOME already have all the core items necessary on their Axe to just start fights. And that's why I was saying, like, Old 11's item timing is going to be very important for EHOME's success. If they had done anything to slow his progression, I'd say they might have a better chance. But the problem is they can't. Because if they put heroes in that lane, then that means your Drill Ranger has an even harder time. Because then you're playing 3v2. Then maybe another hero starts rotating around from EHOME and they're able to find a kill elsewhere on, you know, mid perhaps, because Quake was already losing that lane quite hard. But it's a rough spot, to say the least. I feel like they were kind of drafted into a corner at the last pick, because it didn't really seem like there were a ton of heroes that were really good. And that's when you feel like one team has been outdrafted, when you can't think of a single hero that's going to put them in a good position. I think Drow is just the best of a bad spot.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Escape Gaming maybe to just utilize that Drow as much as they can, as they will look towards the top tier 1, just trying to find the openings for these objectives that they desperately need to find. At a game that's 16 minutes in, EHOME has certainly started to push the momentum, push the pressure. Era, he's going to hang back. Doesn't want to be involved in the next bit of action. He just wants to make sure that he has that aura. He has himself alive to offer to the push. EHOME, Old Chicken moving into the pit. Watch the ghosts out. And again, this is a point of the game where Escape Gaming unlikely to be able to do anything about this. Don't know what's going on.
They made a trade at least. They're not just losing Roshan for no reason. They killed the tier 1. They're going to leave Quake up there as long as they possibly can. Because they need to start splitting up the
Maybe they can get over there. They are thinking about it. The Roshan isn't falling maybe as fast as EHOME would have hoped. The Spirit's in. Weaves down. Kezu jumps forward. Chrono's only going to catch Ice though. Kezu, he's trying to finish off Roshan, but he hasn't got the damage. He can't quite do it. Old Level jumps back in. Kezu's been called out. Arrow stands still on the sidelines. They will take down the Disruptor, but Roshan's down. Aegis has been picked up by Ice. They'll song up and try and move out. The damage from Arrow is starting to mount up, especially with this minus time on Old Chicken, and they will be able to finish off the Death Prophet. They'll get themselves another. Old 11 did try for a blink call, but the Forge Spirit held him back, cancelling that blink dagger. Escape Gaming managing to poke a little bit at EHOME, unable to steal the Roshan and the Aegis, as Naga will be able to take that away safely.
It would have been huge if they actually got that. Like, Kezu went for the all-in. He didn't even care about hitting heroes with the Chrono. He just wanted to make sure that everyone else was isolated from the pit. So that way he had the best possible chance of being able to steal that Aegis. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out, but they got one high priority kill on taking out the Death Prophet. I think Ice could have actually saved him because he had Song going, but he was just running like the opposite direction.
I'm out of it.
Yeah, he pieced. He's like, I'm done with this. I got my item. I'm out of the pit.
Like, you can throw. I'm not throwing.
I think all in all it was still okay for EHOME. Maybe not as clean as they would have liked, but they're still kind of on pace. The interesting thing to me, and whenever I watch Escape, even if they're not winning, Equakefa literally always has the highest net worth.
He's just
all the time.
I think that's where the 75% of the the battle pass level money goes.
Honestly, it really feels
straight
that way.
to Quakefa's net worth.
I mean, he's got a full axe.
Oh, and Cinderin, he's got a full axe down his throat.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably one of the worst teams I feel to play Dazzle against because they just love axe.
It's got to be a bit of a Dazzle nightmare, especially when the Axes had such a good start.
Yeah.
Cinderin's like, oh boy.
I mean, it's a really interesting dynamic between the two heroes because you have Dazzle is good against Axe in lane.
Yes.
But after the laning phase is over, Axe just hard counters what you do. I mean, sure, if you get a weave out, maybe you get some extra right-click damage, and it's good enough to take down a tanky hero. That's going to be good with the other Titan synergy for sure. But otherwise, it's like, if the Axe is ahead of you, it's a nightmare.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Pushing on mid. Looks like they want to try and do something in return. Kezu jumps in. Two-man Chronos with a Sunstrike. The burst. There we go with the split. They've taken both of them down. Escape Gaming hitting EHOME hard there with a 1-2 combo. Now jumping in for more. They've got eyes onto Fenrir. Doesn't look like they're going to have to catch, though. There's going to be another jump forward if Kezu wants to go for it, but he's going to hold back. There's a haste rune on the Disruptor as he's out. EHOME there, getting punished for the push in Escape Gaming. They'll turn it right round on its head and look for a push themselves off the back of it, potentially.
There's a bit of hubris there from EHOME, just trying to push into a tier 1 with only 2 heroes and realizing that Escape clearly had their cooldowns. And you didn't even have your Naga Siren song. Like, it's still not even off cooldown from when Ice used it in the pit. So just a bit of maybe miscommunication or thinking they could get away with something like that, but too greedy of a play. They get punished very hard. Like, Axe and the Death Prophet are 2 of the highest network heroes inside of EHOME. Those are huge kills.
7-7 now. But at the same time, we've still got to remember EHOME at the pace that they can play. And they do, of course, have that Radiance down on Ice. So we're going to get a replay now of that. Oh! Slow motion as well. There's the Earth Splitter, putting EHOME in the respawn. There we have it. 1-2 combo, beautifully executed by Escape Gaming. Well, we're back in. We'll jump a few frames forward there. Benny Hill music, please. But back on EHOME, trying to finish off that tier 1 in the mid lane. Looks like they'll be able to get it this time. No Splitter or Chronosphere available, so Escape Gaming can't put together that formidable defense they did before. Kezu, whoa! Nice time walk, son. There's a glimpse, though. There's your counter. Static Storm as well. Old 11's trying to move in. For the dunk for Rude. Can you get out? No, you can't. Old 11, he's got the dunk down.
That wasn't a multi. I think he actually lives there. So the glimpse
he would have had a chance to time walk again.
Yeah, and he had time dilation on old 11, so he wouldn't have been able to fall twice. That was very, very close, actually. A very valiant attempt there from Kezu. But EHOME are they're still on point. I mean, they haven't really done anything to pressure the Naga Siren, so Ice now has his Radiance completed and almost 1,700 gold in his inventory. He's still on track for what he needs. Obviously still ahead of the Drill Ranger, and there's going to become this time in the game where the lanes are getting pushed in slowly. You know, Escape have decent amount of wave clear, but that's the point where EHOME's lineup really starts to become terrifying because you have to worry about illusions more the longer the game goes. And when you're worrying about illusions, you're not always paying attention to like blink initiations or, you know, if EHOME are smoke ganking and whatnot, so it becomes a lot more difficult.
And all ults back up now for Escape Gaming, as well as Kezu's Diffusal Blade. They'll be able to offer a bit more punch to the next bit of action that happens. You can see Old Chicken to the point booster, looks a bit casual now, as now he realizes he needs a BKB on this Death Prophet to get him against Quaker and such.
It's super, super good against their heroes, but this is a hard game to itemize, I feel, as a Death Prophet, because you're against a lineup with a Dro, and then there's Dazzle as well. So you have like this mass minus armor. You want a BKB because you're playing against an Invoker, and just that hero alone makes you want to buy BKB. So I feel like in some ways, the kind of damage output that Escape Gaming have is difficult for the Death Prophet to itemize against, even when you're ahead. So like the next item he needs after BKB has to be an armor item, or like a Ghost Scepter or something. Otherwise, he's just going to get right-clicked down.
Well, at this stage, I mean, talked about earlier how pace was slow. EHOME started to step it up. It started to slow down a bit again, but EHOME moving into their own jungle. Escape Gaming has come across, and well, they've caught him out. Old Levin jumps in, immediately gets him with the call. Arrow will be punished for his presence, and the rest of Escape Gaming start to get themselves on the retreat. But Synderen, he's been glimpsed. They get the vision. They bring him back. Synderen will be able to join Error in the base for 30 seconds.
He must have held that TP for a while, because like the Drow didn't die that fast, right? It feels like he might have just hesitated a bit. I'm not sure why. I feel like he should have been able to get away from that. No, I have to watch the replay to be sure, but bonus kill for EHOME. Still no pressure really being applied here to Ice. He goes for the bots, just disassembles the Arcanes. Now he's probably making his way towards what I assume is going to just be the Octarine straight up. Unless he feels like he wants to make a pit stop at Yasha. Kind of differs, I think. Yeah, he's gonna get the Yasha.
Yeah.
The game plan is very, very clear from EHOME. All they want to do is restrict the map away from Escape as best they can. You know, you only take team fights if Old Chicken has his ultimate. And whatever objectives you can get between that time are kind of just icing on the cake.
Regeneration!
Oh, because Sierra starts to sneak around with this completed Shadow Blade.
A very interesting choice.
I mean, what are you using it for? Because looking at EHOME's lineup, you're not really going to be able to use it for going out and finding solo picks, are you, against EHOME's tanky heroes?
Because he wants an item that's going to make him feel safer while he's like split pushing or trying to make something happen out on the map. Because normally, you don't make a lot of escape items on this hero, and you, like, 4 staff is pretty mediocre. Sure, you already have the Dragon Lance, so you can make it into a Hurricane Pike or whatnot, but this gives him more damage, and it kind of gives him that survivability, or maybe not survivability, but the way to escape ganks that he's looking for.
Top lane. Yeah, they're looking for him. He's going to go for the straight TP out, but quite quick with the cold snap. Old Lanham taken down.
How did that TP not go off? I thought he was out. That's a good kill, though. Takes a lot of pressure off of Era. He can push like the next couple of waves. Escape are slowly but surely making their way back in this.
They really are, and as expected, you know, Quaker. I mean, this is the classic net worth look. When we see an Escape Gaming game, Quaker at the top. Oh, he's just been knocked off the top spot, as I said that by Ice, but towards the top. Then the opponent's cores, and then the rest of Escape Gaming. Blink Dagger on himself. Do have the gem now on Elder Titan as well, so looking to take up some control of the map. He absolutely wants to be careful. And in fact, they want to jump in. Kezu looking to move in with the silence in quick response here. Kezu's still trying to bash away at 11, and Fenrir taking over. The song comes out. Escape Game can't quite finish it, but they're still going to nurse it. Yapko wasn't caught out by the song. They'll clip onto old 11. EHOME trying to get themselves out of it. The diffuser weight charge drop down to Fenrir. They'll find the disruptive kill for Old Chicken. Coming in hard onto Kezu, who's got the grave from Sinner and will be able to get himself out. Old 11 maybe contemplating going back in. Sinner is going to drive for the TP, but the Yules, the core, everything's there to stop the little purple bug with getting home, and Sinner on the Dazzle falls. But it's a 1-for-1 trade there in EHOME's jungle. Does force the Ghost to obviously be used on the Death Prophet, so EHOME may be unable to then look for a push themselves off the back of it. So even trades at this point, does it favour Escape Gaming?
I think Escape probably wanted more out of that, because if you look at the way the fight kicks off, Fenrir is stuck inside of this chrono, but Ice, perfect song timing, his spacing is on point. Fenrir dodges the Earth Splitter, so he doesn't drop there. It allows him to get the Static Storm off, which ultimately means that EHOME don't lose more in the fight. And if Ice wasn't in the right spot, that could have been a total disaster, because Kezu's chrono was actually very good. He caught like 2 of the heroes that you really want to make sure are inside of it. That's kind of what I was saying during the draft, is the Naga is just such a good thing to have against Chrono, because if you never get Chronosphered, you can always stop the heroes from dying. Almost all of the time, except if maybe an Invoker throws a Sunstrike from across the map. Clearly you're not going to be sleeping him, or if an Earth Splitter flies in, but unfortunately for Yapsor, it's too late.
Is he tempted to go for something here? He certainly is. Cole's now to jump down as Koifa jumps in. There we go. He can't quite finish the job off though on Lanham. He's going to be able to get away. Old Chicken's turn on. Koifa says it's time to bail. Goes for the TPL. Will make it.
Oh, he messed up actually. Old Chicken. That was not great. Strike in the well. Did he miss? Yeah, I think he missed.
Yeah, he missed.
So he didn't tread switch Old Chicken. He had enough mana for duels, but he was on strength treads instead of int, so he could have stopped the TP, but he didn't switch his treads. It's actually a very, very big kill that they just missed, because up until this point, Quakefa hasn't died at all. That was a huge misplay.
I mean, yeah, just to point again to Koifa's ridiculous performance. As we're talking about before the game as well as the draft was going on, Koifa certainly turned up for TI today, with TI level performances on his mid lane.
The crazy thing is, he only has Blink. That's not really the best escape item if you think about it. So the fact that he hasn't really been in a situation where he's going to die at all, and is only utilizing one mobility item is pretty stellar, to say the least. But I guess you could say the same for Old Chicken. Like, sure, he kind of made a mistake there, but he just owned Quakefa in lane with Drow Aura.
Koifa's got to be careful here. Will goes for it, but Old Levin's caught him. He needs help. Kezu is coming in. The Chrono. Oh, it's an Ono. It's not going to catch anyone, but Koifa gets the tornado out, holds Old Levin back. Continues to retreat, goes for the quick TP out. He is going to make it. Old Levin won't be able to find him. So very, very tentative plays there at the top, and Escape Gaming nearly losing some very painful losses.
That was flat out picnic right there from Kezu. He just was like, oh my god, my Invoker's gonna die. I need this sphere right now. And that's actually still kind of a big whiff due to the Ghost being available here. So they can just push the tower if they want to try to go high ground or go for Roshan even, because that respawn, that Chronosphere miss right there could have some huge implications for Escape Gaming.
Trying to do the best they can, EHOME, with that window of opportunity. Certainly have started to respect Escape Gaming's play, the fact that they managed to hold it out to this stage where, you know, still relatively young in the game cycle, but 29 minutes in a game where EHOME certainly had a very dominant performance at the start. Escape Gaming have certainly stepped it up, showed their hand, and EHOME going to sit back, go for the objective, get the Roshan. And this is a point, as we said, without that Chronosphere, Escape Gaming, they'll scout it out, but unlikely they can do anything about this.
I mean, maybe if they had started moving a bit sooner, you do have Elder Titans, just a chance that you could delay the Rosh at the very least. But stopping it completely is going to be tough, and they're not willing to take that risk right now. So they're going to give it to EHOME, which obviously not the best, but again, due to the fact that Kezu misses Chrono, means that their teamfight utility is not where it needs to be to take that engagement. So all things considered, EHOME still looking to be in the driver's seat for a bit longer. Being said though, Escape Gaming have a couple of ways to take the fights. We've seen some really good Chronospheres from Kezu. We've seen the follow-up with the Earth Splitter coming out from Yapsor and Quakefa's damage as well. So their high ground defense is great. There's no question about it on Escape, and maybe that's what they need to turn the game.
Kezu quite forgetting a position here on the top lane. Error, item progression post Shadowblade. Oh yeah, Shalai still 1900, I guess he will still just finish at the Manta style on the Drow, and then where else can we expect to see Era go as this game does potentially go later and later?
I kind of feel like at this point it's almost what his preference is. Does he want more survivability? Because if he does, I think Hurricane Pike is still a really good item. To yourself, like farther away if you get ensnared, you know, if you get stunned or something like that, you can get yourself out. Because that's one of the things that Escape kind of lack right now. Even though their name is literally Escape Gaming, he has no escape item. Like, Shadowblade's not going to get you out in the team fight if the enemy team has gem or has any sort of detection whatsoever. So I wouldn't mind that too much. The other option is he can go for BKB. And I think BKB is the choice that you make when there's a really big objective to fight over. So, like, say if Roche respawns, and around that time he has enough money for BKB, then I think that will most likely be the choice.
Do you imagine that EHOME will look to try and get something achieved with this Aegis, or are they waiting for further item timings, so that they themselves just feel under no pressure to hurry the pace up? You know, see Ice, he's having a great game, he's getting a lot of space, he's got the Octarine done.
And they will smoke, yeah.
That might have been the signal to get things rolling.
They were just waiting for ghosts.
Yeah.
because obviously Ulchi can use it for Roshan, so now that it's back up, they're looking to do something with it. And I think that's fair. When you have this kind of... This team doesn't actually carry Aegis that well, in my opinion, like EHOME's lineup, because Axe is the type of hero who's going to die when he's in the middle of the entire
All
enemy.
Sin.
Oh my
Aegis
God.
went in for a heal.
He's fine, he's
Oh!
fine. Force staff. Wait, Sin has an item? Am I watching the same?
Was that his force?
Is that a bug?
I was.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, we'll fix that next patch.
Synderen no longer can buy items in game besides force.
Yeah, they did that a few years ago.
Yeah. No, but this is a really
Middle tower
good timing for EHOME to try to make something happen. But obviously 5-man smoke gang fails, gives Escape a little bit of breathing room,
Yeah,
quick and whatnot, farm a few more waves.
Absolutely, that's got to be only good news there for Escape Gaming. Mid lane. 11 still has his eyes on the kill. If he wants to go for it, he will jump in, get the call onto Synderen on the back line. They'll drop a static storm as well. It's a high priority kill. They want that Dazzle dead. They'll get it. Kezu comes in the chrono. Zone strike out to 11. Do they have the damage to disperse this axe with the punches? But he also himself up, dodging the Earth Splitter. Continues to move out, gets the blink away. They've lost 2 Escape Gaming. Now the song comes in. Kezu enjoys the last song he'll hear in a long time as EHOME surround him, beat down, he gets a time walk out, give that man an OS drop. And it's not good enough.
Okay though, that time walk just can't get him far enough away. It's not really that great unless you're able to like time walk up a cliff or in the fog or something like that. That's when you can truly get yourself out of a situation like that. But EHOME, to try to breach high ground here, quick drops the ice wall. It's about all he can do right now.
A one-man defense from Kuiper. Can he do it on his own? I mean, he's certainly doing a good job of it. Tornado, EMP, and an ice wall. That's all you need to deal with EHOME apparently for a good 20 seconds. Sends them packing.
Well, they kind of used all their ultimates, right? They dropped the Static Storm to kill Sind, and then the Ghost had already been used to kill the Tier 2. So at that point, they don't have the tools they need to really breach the high ground anymore, because without the use of Exorcism, none of their other heroes really hit buildings except for Naga, and Nice Ice was already somewhere else on the map split pushing. So it's a good decision from EHOME to back. They got some net worth out of that. They killed Kezu, they killed Synderen.
EHOME now, at this point, is that simply going to be just rinse and repeat, sit back, wait for the song, wait for the exorcism to come online, and then go again? They just feel no need to try and do anything. And looking at the positioning of them as well, they're not too scared about Escape Gaming doing anything or looking for any pickoffs at this stage.
Well, they know that Chronosphere was used as well. So they have that timing. They're saying, okay, well, we know at least, it's not level 16 Void, so the Chrono's like almost 2 minutes cooldown, give or take. And then at that point, maybe you're a little bit scared, but the problem that Escape are running into is every time EHOME cross the river, almost the entirety of Escape have to go back to base to defend. And when that happens, you're not really split pushing enough to make EHOME scared of really anything. And the lane equilibrium is going to become more and more important, and that's why I mentioned, as Ice gets more items after that Radiance, it's harder for Escape to take fights because they're always worried about trying to deep push their lanes. And that's why Quickfoot, obviously goes bots and he's top lane, he's bottom lane, he's all over the place trying to make sure that Ice doesn't get that map dominance that you so often see from an Naga Siren.
As we see, Octarine's all around Kuiper with his. At the same time, Old Chicken has just finished off one for himself as well. So the frequency of these pushes is certainly going to be amped up by EHOME. The better readiness of that DP ultimate.
The game's pace hasn't really been super fast because both teams have the ability to farm, but it's more been Escape are under the gun. Like, they're just the ones who are getting ran at. If you think about it this way, they lost all 3 of their lanes. They're still holding on pretty well, given the circumstances. Up against the Naga Siren pressure, up against the Death Prophet, popping the ultimate pretty much on cooldown to go for objectives. And speaking of, EHOME have Olchkin's Exorcism up once again. They're going to go for a 3-man smoke this time.
Absolutely, and it's like Kezu could be on the menu if all 11 heads this way. Any vision up there on the high ground, so EHOME kind of moving across blindly. They'll obviously spot push Mera in the mid lane going on, but at the same time, the rest of Escape Gaming are there. They're starting to move away from the Drow, so if he does get jumped, they might not be able to get there quick enough in response. It looks like they won't be able to find the opening, and Era going to be able to inadvertently just avoid that attack that EHOME were looking for as he heads towards the east. And EHOME, they'll just head towards the top. They have got a creep wave moving in, so at the least tier 2 top will be taken. maybe they could try and push on more for our high ground push, or is there another play here for EHOME? I mean, are EHOME ready to go all in and try and break the base of Escape Gaming, or is that still a little bit too risky for them without a pick outside first?
I don't actually think it's that risky to try to siege, because if worst case scenario, say you get sphered with like 3 heroes inside, if Ice is not in that sphere, you can always disengage. Like, that's the beauty of the lineup that EHOME put together. Is not only do you have the disengage, but if Fenrir is in a good position, you can also counter initiate and just straight up kill. Because at this point, I don't even think there's a single BKB.
Where he came out, he's going to be jumped on. Will there be any kind of save in time? No, the dunk down's there. 11 takes down the Drow Ranger. The glimpse back, sending one of them out. Kezu, he's out of the fight. Ripped back really across the map. There's going to be no chronosphere for this defense because of that glimpse. They'll move in. They see the opening. EHOME coming in hard with the Ghost. Here we have on the Kezu cam. A little bit of cross country as he walks his way back to base. EHOME, let's see how much they can get done to the rats. Kezu, on his jogging boots. He has managed to close the gap, and in he comes with the blink. Chronon to do the buyback from Aaron, making sure that you're there. Oh, she can get it burst down. The Earth Splitter, ripping for free. They're taking down the death prophet. On 11 using himself up, but he's still gonna die. The spirit from Yapzor finishes him off. This Elder Titan, playing out of his mind there to follow Kezu's chrono. And they'll take down 2 of the big boys on EHOME, and they'll hold the base for the time being at Escape Gaming, keeping those racks alive.
Where was the song going? Ice was standing outside of base. I thought
maybe he had a frog in his throat.
He was in position, but he just threw it out so late. I'm not sure if he didn't have mana, because he was very, very low on mana when the fight kind of ended. So we can see his positioning. So the Chronosphere comes out, and then Ice is actually above the sphere on the top left, and he had very low mana. So maybe no, he did have enough. The song comes in, and by that point, the Earth Splitter had already been used. So obviously, EHOME had lost this fight as soon as that Earth Splitter lands. That's pretty much the wombo combo that we were talking about that lets Escape Gaming back into this. So, unfortunate that he didn't get the timing that he was looking for, but he does have Song up again.
Absolutely, Octarine course, pretty good item, sets up onto 4 of them, and here we go, Static Storm, Kinetic Field, catching out Kezu and Cineran. They'll try and get a multi-pass out, Koifer as the Ogre chases him down. Kezu time walks out, will manage to jump up to the high ground at the last possible moment over Koifer. Playing with luck here as old Landon trying to land down the combo. Ice stopped up by the stomp. Kezu coming in with the bashes, but again Outlanded on this Ogre just running around the battlefield, chopping down the jackpots. They'll take down 2. Escape Gaming again in return. Their push will be stopped by EHOME, and EHOME, they'll be ready to push back as the ghosts from Old Chicken come back online. Error always being caught out by Ice. Drow versus Naga. 1v1 son. Well, it's not going to work, especially when an axe turns up. Hold 11, making the battle unfair, but does the dirty. Takes down Error. And when there may have just been a little glimmer of hope for Escape Gaming to capitalize on EHOME's mistakes, again, it gets harder for them. Push comes in, 60 seconds without the Drow Ranger. Of course, he did use the buyback on the last fight Error. Chronosphere, it's going to be there in 20 seconds.
No, they have it. He's going to
he can buy back, yeah.
Seconds, yeah. But I don't know if he buys back for 1 set of racks.
And it looks like he might be back in time. That's all EHOME can do. There's the Ghost, Old Chicken, ready to move in, ready to try and take this middle lane ranks. They do have fortification available though, Escape Gaming. And they do their best to hold them back. 30 seconds without the Drow. Old Lana on the front at the moment. Kezu has that chrono. Let's see where he jumps in. But Old Chicken got the BKB up in time. That's going to be the Koifer. He's going to be limited in what he can do, especially when the Zand's falling in. Old Chicken keeps himself alive. He does. Coming through on one time. Koifer bites back immediately on the Invoker. Needs to get himself back, but sitting up. So they're being silenced and all that they can offer. Tornado for Koifer. Going to catch on to Old Chicken on the Death Prophet. Turns towards Ice, but he's running around with these illusions out. The Radiant Spurt is causing so many issues for Escape Gaming. They just can't get close enough to jump back in onto EHOME. And Cineran dies. Oh, the illusions have killed him. Cineran back to base. Ice, having fun there with the Dane.
That's a feels bad, man. That's just insult to injury at this point. I mean, I guess at the very least, they only lost 1 set of racks. The tier 3 is getting kind of low. I don't know if they're going to deny it, but it's kind of getting to that state now where you're really feeling the presence of the Naga Siren. Like, Ice went from being neck and neck with Koifa to 50% more net worth than the next highest person in the game. And the timing of EHOME is just on point. You know, they're going for Roshan. Cheese is up now. They can give it to Ice. I think he actually, does he have one inventory slot right now? No, he doesn't. Never mind. They're going to give it to somebody else. But yeah, this is a 6-slotted Naga, 41 minutes into the game, and he's got 4,600 gold on top of that. So Very
Yeah.
unfortunate stuff. And we're gonna get a chance to see this high ground siege. The
That
BKB,
BKB pop.
That saved his life,
saved it,
100%.
absolutely.
And you can also see the damage difference when Era is not alive. Like, if they have a couple of range heroes with the weave, and even if he gets the BKB off, if the Drow Ranger was there, they probably get that kill.
How much is he dishing out? Increased, what, 70 damage, yeah.
Yeah,
per
so it's
hero.
a lot of
that's yeah, you do the math, but that's a lot. That's what, extra 350 when he himself's alive and giving to himself and everyone. That's
But the problem
that's
is,
a rapier.
problem is with their lineup, they had this timing where they have a huge amount of physical damage output because they have Elder Titan Aura, and then they also have the Dazzle Weave. And before, Old Chicken had no armor items at all, so it was actually very easy for them to shred the hero because they just right-click it to death. Problem is now, he has the Octarine finish, and now he's building into armor, which just boosts his effective HP by a tremendous amount, so it's going to become even harder for that hero to be taken down.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
As we see Quaker just consistently pushing out with these side lanes. Just trying to get as much pressure put on EHOME to make it as hard as he can for them to be able to group up and go in as 5 again. BKB now picked up on Invoker as well, so Quaker's got that as well to just help him keep himself alive, but still the imminent threats, the call and such.
Wait, Owen, am I crazy, or didn't Era have a point booster at some stage?
Era certainly did have a point booster, and he had about 1100 gold towards the rest of the Aghanims. It looks like he has sold it and gone back for the BKB Era, so he's pushed himself down even more. He did have a point booster.
Okay, I'm not getting senile then in my old age. That's good to know. Good to know. Era? He's also struggling with the illusion at this point.
Nice. He's just soloing the top racks at the moment. The rest of EHOME putting the pressure on. Heavy on the gets the point off onto studio. The will come back for everyone. There's the combo. Swiper. Old Lanham go up into the air with the Yules as well as Old Chicken keeping themselves alive here. Old Chicken can survive as he can't, but he's got the ages. Buyback from Yapto trying to get himself back into the fight. There's a buyback available from Kersey, but of course no Chrono realizes that everything's going to be needed for this last fight. To the EHOME, they're coming in hard. Yapto's going to get knocked down. It's a triple kill for Old 11 on the axe. Blinks himself out as well in style as EHOME absolutely powering down now onto Escape Gaming. It looks like this could be the end of the road for Cinder the boys in game 1. Quite that, is he going to get done through? He's not. Old Chicken. He wants a bit of a taste of the triple kill action, and indeed Escape Gaming tap out. EHOME turning up now on a day where at the beginning against Execration, you may have said, looking at it, EHOME, what's happened? This is a team that we expect to blaze through the wild cards. Here we have it in this game. I wouldn't say the cleanest performance because there were still trip-ups. Escape Gaming was still able to punish some over-aggressive maneuvers from EHOME, but overall, as the game went on to the end, he was laughing all the way through. That doesn't die at all. 3-0-13 on his Naga.
It was, yeah, like you mentioned, a flawless game. Sure, there was one fight where his positioning probably could have been a tiny bit better, but overall, I think that EHOME's game plan was just a little bit more solid. It wasn't as